Well, look, in researching this and just kind of digging into you and your career a little bit, I mean, there's nobody like you, obviously. I mean, you know that. There's nothing that you did that anybody else has done that you could say you could compare it to. So, I think if anyone was going to look at how they could get longevity over a long period of time, they certainly need to study, your progression over the years. I mean, being an Olympian at age 17 in '84, and then competing in your last Olympics, I believe, what was that, Beijing at 41? Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, what do you see? I mean, you're basically getting the same result as a 17 or 41-year-old, but you're doing completely different things, right?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to it. And there's also some simplicity too. I think the biggest thing is, I had coaches when I was younger, like Mark Schubert and Randy Reese, who were just brutal. I mean, Mark wasn't as bad as Randy, but we did a lot of yardage. And I think in the long run, that really helped me. Obviously, I don't think that's the right way to train. And when I did train a lot of yardage, I broke down very quickly and I wasn't swimming fast. So I came from where I broke my first world record when I was 15 years old in the 50 freestyle, and then went to college and could barely get into the finals except for the 1 year that Randy didn't coach me. The assistant coach coached me, and we didn't do like a ton of yardage. And I just feel like I was probably always just broken down and tired. And that's why I didn't swim well when I was younger. But that's in retrospect. When it was happening, I just thought I was getting older and couldn't swim and would just die at the end of my races. And that's just the way it was. So when I took those years off, I had retired after college, took a couple of years off before I came back for 92. Then I took 7 years off, came back in 99 to train for 2000, and did my best times ever. And had a coach who really knew about recovery. It was Richard Quick, really knew how to recover and what the body could and couldn't do. So that helped me. And then when I came back at, 39 years old, and decided, I had just had my daughter, and decided to train for a couple years for 2008. I did things a lot differently. I didn't pound the yardage. It was very hard for me mentally to sort of figure out how to do this, because I remember going to practice, and then I was supposed to come back for afternoon practice, and I was exhausted, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. And then I thought, okay, well, maybe it's just because I'm getting back into training again, having just had a daughter. And so that I tried it again. And I couldn't come back and swim the second workout. So really what it came down to is listening to my body and doing what was best for me. And so, Michael Loberg, who was my coach, had a background in physiology. So he really knew also what the body could and couldn't do. And he would do the lactic acid testing and see really what worked best for me. And really what worked best as I got older was, the less I did, the better. And I changed my training around as far as the drawing line training went. I came from the old school where the heavier weights you lift in the weight room, the stronger you are in the water. And that might have been good when I was younger, but I'd sink like a rock if I did that. I had to sort of elongate my muscles and do stuff that was going to mimic my stroke in the pool, and not worry about heavy lifting, but worry more about doing body weight type stuff, using your core a lot, just doing a lot of different exercises in the gym that would help make me more efficient in the pool. And then I had stretching trainers that helped me with my recovery when I'd stretch, at least 3 times a week, and at swim meets when I go to swim meets. So things were a lot different, but I think the hardest thing for me was wrapping my head around the fact that I couldn't do what the kids were doing, because I thought, well, if I can't do what they're doing, how am I going to make an Olympic team? And that mentally sort of played with me. And I had to sort of reprogram my head and be like, okay, yeah, I'm not doing what they're doing, but my body isn't like theirs, because they're in their teens and 20s and I'm in my 40s. And so I have to sort of do something, reprogram my head to know that it's okay to do what's best for me and not what the other kids are doing.